So I kind of want a shiny Pokemon right now. So, let's see. Whoa, that's a shiny Pokemon. Huh. And as you can see, I have no action replay, and I just hit a button, and I got a freaking shiny Pokemon. And if you guys want to learn how to get shinies with a 100% success rate, stick around and let me show you. And no, you don't have to sell your soul to the devil or make a blood oath with a Lovecraftian monster, but you might have to do something even worse. You might have to do some basic math problems. Yeah. Let me run. And I run from the shiny Pokemon. Yeah, whatever.
What's up YouTube? This is the GalFX bringing you a new video, and today I will show you how to RNG abuse to get any shiny Pokemon in the wild, whatever you want, in Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, or Emerald. This is Fire Red, not Ruby, but you get the idea. Now, let's be clear about something here, okay? I am not the first person to showcase how to RNG abuse in the third generation games. Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald are pretty old games, well over 10 years old, and RNG abuse is something that was found a long time ago. But the current videos available, I feel they're a little outdated. And there were a couple of things that I had to figure it out by myself. And thus, I wanted to make this video for a long time, showcasing you in painstakingly detail, step by step, how to get any shiny Pokemon you want in the wild. And not only that,
but wait! There's more!
I'm going to show you not only how to get shiny Pokemon, but I'm going to show you how to get in the most primal part of Pokemon, its personality ID, which means that you can choose whatever Pokemon you want. Whatever the sex you want, what ability he has, the IDs that you want, and of course, whatever is shiny or not. And I promise you, if you follow this guide step by step, and you do everything I tell you, you can get any shiny in the wild in less than 3 minutes.
Guaranteed.
So, before we start RNG abusing, you have to understand what RNG means.
What the frick is that?
Because I'm going to mention the words RNG throughout the whole video. I'm going to mention it probably about 8,192 times, and if you don't know the terminology that I use, you will probably be very confused by the end. So, RNG stands for Random Number Generator, and is a system that is able to produce quote-unquote random results, and these results in several role-playing games are able to dictate what things happen at what time. And of course, in Pokemon games, RNG is the culprit that produces random Pokemon throughout the games. And by RNG abusing in the Pokemon games, well, RNG abusing is a crude way to put it. By having a better understanding of the RNG, you will be able to produce, or the game will be able to produce, any Pokemon that you want. You can make a Pokemon however you want, and he can have the gender that you want, the best ability, and it can have the perfect IVs. And of course, it can also be shiny. Now, you have to understand that there is a very significant difference from our real random number generator and the random number generators using in Pokemon games, because these RNGs in the Pokemon games aren't actually random. They're based on algorithms, so therefore they can be predicted, because if you know what the algorithm is and what goes into it, you can work out what it comes out to the other side. So depending on which Pokemon game you have, the algorithms will be slightly different. But what you have to understand is that from a single number, known as a seed, the algorithm will produce a random, infinite string of numbers, and those infinite strings of numbers will dictate anything that happens in the game. Every time you turn on the game, the seed will start producing random numbers, and depending on which game you have, the seed will be slightly different. In Pokemon Emerald, for example, the seed will always be 0. For the rest of the Generation 3 games, Ruby, Sapphire, Fire Red, or Leaf Green, the seed is determined by how fast you go through the title sequence. This is known as a delay. And finally, in Ruby and Sapphire, if you take the battery out or if the battery is dry, the seed will always be 5A0. And I'm going to say it now. For random encounter any shiny Pokemon that you want, you will need to have your dry battery if you're going to try this in Ruby and Sapphire. If the battery in Ruby and Sapphire is working, I suggest you taking out the battery from the cartridge, although that can be a little tricky. So you can also try to let the game just play enough so the battery runs dry. The games are pretty old, are over 10 years old, so most copies of the game will have a dry battery, so probably you shouldn't worry about that. Now that you have all that information, you can finally start to RNG abusing for shinies. The main 3 things that you need in every game is your seed, your trainer ID, and your secret trainer ID. The seed is super easy to figure it out. Like I said, if you're playing in Emerald, the seed will always be fixed to 0. And if you're playing on Ruby or Sapphire without an internal battery, the seed will always be fixed to 5A0. Your trainer ID is a 5-digit code that every single Pokemon game has. You just check your trainer card and you will see in a corner that 5-digit trainer ID. And your secret trainer ID, finally, which is the one thing that you don't have, is another 5-digit code that also comes with your trainer ID, but like the name implies, it's secret, so you cannot see it normally. But before we go and search your secret trainer ID, and that is by far the hardest step in this whole tutorial, you should make some pre-preparations in your game before going to search your secret trainer ID, in order to make this whole process as easier and fast as possible. So, the first thing you need to do is to have a Pokemon with the move Sweet Scent. This is a very common move, and there are plenty of Pokemon that knows this move, such as Oddish, Illumise. Today I will use Tropius for the example. The next thing on the list, and this is optional, is to have a high amount of rare candies. As you can see, I have 99 rare candies. Like I said, these are optionals, they're not required, but it will make your work a lot easier. If you don't have Pokemon Emerald and you can only play Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, they are not required, but like I said, they make this process go a lot faster. If you have to know, this amount of rare candies is very easily obtainable in Pokemon Emerald by doing the Battle Tower cloning glitch. If you guys do not know how to perform this glitch, it's very easy and I will quickly go through it before continuing. So this is the Battle Tower, is in the Battle Frontier and it is in the post game. So yeah, the glitch is extremely simple to perform and is very well known. The first thing you need to do is step close to this PC and save in this spot. After you do this, you withdraw Pokemons that has items. As you can see, I have a whole box of Pokemon holding different items. Both the Pokemons and the items will be cloned, so be wary of that. So I have a bunch of Pokeballs here and a bunch of Pokemon, and these ones are the ones that I'm going to clone. So I'm gonna withdraw them. And you can only clone 5 Pokemon at a time. After you do that, you go to talk to this lady. You're gonna accept and take the Battle Room Challenge. You will choose the option Open Level. And now you're gonna choose 2 Pokemon. It can be whatever. Now, at this point, the lady is going to say that you need to save before going to the battle room. And at this point, you will not click yes. At this point, you will soft reset your game at this very screen. I have a Game Boy Advance SP, so to soft reset the game, you need to hit both A, B, select, and start at the same time. Once you do that, you see that you are in this spot, and if you check your Pokemon, you still have the 5 Pokemon you had before you soft reset the game. But if you check your PC, you can see that you have those exact same 5 Pokemon still in your PC, so you clone them alongside the items. So if you put a bunch of rare candies in these Pokemons, you can easily get as much rare candies and as much different Pokemons as you want. The next thing to do, and just like the rare candies, this is optional, but in this case, this is only something that you can use in Emerald. So don't even try it in Ruby and Sapphire. This is only helpful in Emerald, but it's really helpful, so I highly suggest that you do it. The thing that you need to do is to cut a lot of Pokemon with
Synchronize
ability. This ability has 2 effects. The first one is that if the Pokemon that has Synchronize is inflicted with a status ailment, such as being paralyzed, sleep, being poisoned, burn, the opposing Pokemon enemy will get that same status ailment. But starting from Pokemon Emerald onward, the Synchronized Pokemon has another very important second ability, in which if you are encountering random Pokemon in the grass or in caves, there's a 50% chance in Emerald that the Pokemon in the wild will have the same nature as the synchronized Pokemon leading your party. So if you have a Brave Synchronizer, there is a 50% chance that the Pokemon you encounter in the wild will have this same nature. So what you need to do is to cut a lot of different Pokemons with the ability Synchronize with several different natures. Make sure to get at least one of each nature. Like I said, it's not necessary and it will take a bit, but it's really worth it. You can get Natus, which is the easier Pokemon, the easier Synchronizer to get. in the Safari Zone, or you can breed Natu with a Ditto in the daycare center. Whatever choice you do is really helpful, and I suggest that you take your time to get several synchronizer Pokemons with different natures. But if you are doing Pokemon Sapphire or Ruby, skip this step. Now, for searching your secret trainer ID, there are a plethora of different methods that you can use, but today I will just going to show you two that are radically different from one another, but I believe both of them are pretty easy to understand. Now, if you want to separate them, we can say that one is the easy way and the other is the hard way. Let's talk about the pros and cons of each one.
That sounds like a fucking great idea!
For the easy method, you just only need a computer, and if you're seeing this video, you probably have that one, so yeah, that's good. You also need one copy of either Pokemon Emerald, Ruby, or Sapphire, and finally a console to play it. It can be whatever, from Game Boy Advance, SPs, Micros, Nintendo DS's, whatever. Now, regardless of the method that you're going to do, like I said, both of them has pros and cons. And the method number one, the easy way, it has a catch. And that is that you need to have a non-bred wild shiny Pokemon from the game where you want to know your secret trainer ID. So let me go to Pokemon Emerald to explain it a little bit more. So the first step of getting your secret trainer ID, like I said, you need a non-bred. That means that you have to caught it in the wild shiny Pokemon. Also, that shiny Pokemon cannot have any EVs. That means that that Pokemon you cannot battle with that Pokemon. You cannot use it in battles, nor give him any sort of vitamins, because that will change his EVs, his effort values. And for you to know the IVs of the shiny Pokemon, you need to have their EVs, their effort values, to 0. It's a bit complicated if you don't understand the mechanics of individual values and effort values, but just to make these subjects simple, you need to have a random shiny Pokemon that you caught in the wild and simply don't battle with it and don't give him vitamins. But it's not the end of the world if you have battled with it or you have given him vitamins. There's a way to make his EVs, his effort value, 0, and that way is to give him some certain berries that lower their EVs. So there's not much of a problem with that. You need to have a shiny Pokemon that you caught in the wild, and it needs to be caught in the exact same game that you want to RNG abuse. Here I have many shiny Pokemon that I caught in many different third generation games. As you can see, the names of who caught these shinies are different, and my name here in this Pokemon Emerald cartridge is Brendan, so I need a shiny Pokemon caught in this specific game. So as you can see, I have a shiny Sandshrew caught by me here, Brendan, and this is the Pokemon that I will use to get my secret trainer ID. The next thing you need to do is you need to put in a program this trainer ID, the nature of this shiny Pokemon, and his overall stats, its HP, attack, defense, special attack, special defense, and speed, into a special program so it can calculate this particular shiny Pokemon individual values. And if you have the individual values of a shiny Pokemon, you can easily calculate your secret trainer ID. Now, in order to calculate the shiny Pokemon IVs, we will have to enter to this page, MetalKid's Gaming Resources IV Calculator. In this page, you will put the stats, the nature, and that's pretty much it of the Pokemon, and you will get his IVs. But there is another page which I believe is a little more clean. It does exactly the same thing. In Psypokes.com, it has another IV calculator, pretty much the same as MetalKid's, and this is the one that I will use. But remember, both of them do the same job. So we will have a Sandshrew, Sandslide, and here we search the Pokemon that we want to calculate the IVs. Sandshrew, level 21. 21. There it is. And now we're going to put him stats 56. There it is. Attack 40 attack. Defense we will put 42. Special attack 13. And special defense and speed are both 23. And his nature is one really good nature, adamant. So we submit, and here we have the IVs of Sandshrew. Now, as you can see here, you don't have the exact IVs of Sandshrew. You have either 20 or 23 in HP. In attack, you have either 3 or 7. In defense, you have 7 or 10, and so. So you calculated just which IVs could this Sandshrew have, not the exact IVs. Now that you have these possible IVs, you have to go to Smogon, or at least any page that allows you to calculate your secret ID by deducting it from the possible IVs. And Smogon is that page, and you will have to do some very complicated steps. You will have to do several calculations in order to get your secret trainer ID, or at least an approximation of which numbers will be your secret trainer ID. But we're not gonna do that. As always, there is an easier way. You don't have to go through all this process to calculate your secret trainer ID. There is one easier way, and I will going to show you right now. So as you can guess, there is an easier way. Instead of doing that complicated math, you can easily find your Pokemon shiny IVs by level him up. The higher the level he has, the easier it is to get his exact IVs. So if you level him up to level 100, you have his exact IVs. And if you have his exact IVs, getting your secret IV is a piece of cake. And that is the reason why I told you to get rare candies. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to grab 99 rare candies, and I'm going to use them on this Sandshrew. And this Sandshrew, after I level him up to level 100, well, he's going to turn into a Sandslash, but it doesn't matter if he evolves or not. After he gets to level 100 and I get its exact stats, I will turn off the game so I don't have to farm for more rare candies. As soon as you take a note of this Pokemon stats, it's not necessary that you keep this Pokemon at level 100. You see, that way you can use the rare candy method multiple times. So yeah, right now I'm going to endure the tedious process of leveling this 20 level Pokemon into 100. So I will probably speed this up. So, finally, that took a while. Finally, the sand slash. Just don't mind me that.
Cunt.
Finally, this shiny Pokemon is at level 100, and now you are going to put again his stats into the program I mentioned before, and we can finally get his exact IVs. So let's go. Okay, so now we're going to input the stats of Sandslash, Sandile, and Sandslash there, and we're going to calculate his IVs. As you can see, you can also use the MetalKid IV calculator, but I believe both programs do the same. I just think that this one looks more cleaner. So HP 281, attack, like I said, 228. Okay, so defense 235, special attack 96, special defense 142, and the speed is exactly the same. And his nature is adamant, and we submit, and we can see here that the possible IVs are just one number: 21, 3, 10, 12, 7, 7, 27, 7. So now we're going to grab these exact IVs, and we're going to get our secret ID. And how you do it is by going to this page here, and I should have done that. Okay, let me just turn back and do it here. And we're going to do it here. We're going to put, yeah, right there, that, yeah. So those are the IVs, and here we can check our stats. So 21, 3, 10, 21, 3, 10, and 12, 27, and 7. So 12, 27, and 7. Also, nature is adamant, and our ID is the ID from my Emerald game, 18138. And go. And here we go. We have our seed, or personal ID, or ability, gender. This doesn't concern us. This is more related to our Pokemon. But right here, we have secret ID, and it's 50144. Like the regular trainer ID is a 5-digit code. And now we can finally start RNG abusing.
Now, I probably know what you're thinking.
So you tell me I need a shiny Pokemon and I have to search another shiny Pokemon? You stupid? You stupid nigga? You think I watched this video all the way here just so you can tell me go search a shiny Pokemon in the wild? I don't want to search a shiny Pokemon in the wild. That's why I watch this video. I want my shiny Pokemon now. I want to know.
I know you probably clicked this video so you do not have to search a real shiny in the wild, but think about this, young grasshopper. If you go and search for a legit wild shiny Pokemon in the wild, you will be able to get any other shiny Pokemon that you want, with the nature that you want and the IVs that you want, in just a couple of minutes. That's a pretty good deal. Now, I know where you're coming from. The first legit shiny I've ever got was a shiny Sandshrew, and it took me a year and a half to get. And the last shiny Pokemon I had to soft reset over it, which was a shiny Spiritomb. By the way, I made a video out of it. It took me 6 fucking months.
Ah! Ah! Woo!
So, I know how tedious it is, and luckily for you, there are other ways you can use to search your secret training ID without the need of a legit shiny Pokemon.
Now for the second method, you will need either an original DS or a DS Lite in order to be able to use the Palpark. But not only that, you will need one special cartridge. One of these babies. This is known as an R4. It's a special cartridge that is able to download games from the internet by using a micro SD like the one you see here. Put it in your computer, download games, and play whatever you want. The first thing you need to do is, in your R4, you need to have a copy of either Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, Heart Gold, or Soul Silver. Then you also should download the biggest cheat list you can find. The bigger, the more chances it will have to have the particular cheat we will need to use. So let me start the game. Now that you have the copy of the 4th generation game of your choosing, the next step is very easy. You need to migrate 6 Pokemon from either Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, or Emerald into the 4th generation game of your choosing in the R4. And this time it can be whatever you want. It can be a shiny Pokemon, it can be a regular Pokemon, it can be bred, it can be caught in the wild, in the grass caves, it can be whatever. The only downside to this is that you will need to use the Palpark option of either 4th generation games. And Palpark is only accessible after you beat the main campaign of that Pokemon game. So you will need to spend from 12 to 20 hours playing through either Pokemon Pearl, Platinum, Soul Silver, or Heart Gold in order to access the Palpark. Now, I know that beating an entire game sounds very tedious, and it is, but thankfully you're using an R4, so you can blast through the game very easily by using cheats. You can instant win battles, you can maximize your rare candy so you can level up your guys, you can walk through walls, you can even get all 8 gym badges at once. So yeah, getting through the Palpark shouldn't be a problem. Like I said, by using cheats you can easily beat the game and reach the Palpark in less than 3 hours, and that's pretty fast. But I hear you, you probably are saying, well, 3 hours sounds like a lot of time to me. I don't like to play 3 hours of that game just to reach for the Palpark. And, like I said before, there's always an easier way. As always, you're using an R4, so you can go even faster. Just go online and search for a complete save file of the particular game you're playing, download it, then change the name of the file so it can match your game, and replace the save file with the one that you currently have, and you instantly are in the Palpark. Now that you can access the Palpark, go and catch the Pokemon you transfer from your 3rd generation games. And now you can finally see your secret trainer ID of your 3rd generation Pokemon game. Now, in any Pokemon game, regardless of the generation, it should be impossible for you to see your secret trainer ID. But thankfully, you're using an R4. So you can use cheats in order to access that thing that should be unavailable for you to see. Now, the cheat that you need to do is the one that exchanges the Pokemon name with the secret trainer ID of this particular trainer. There are many variations of this cheat. There's one cheat that changes the amount of coins you have with the secret trainer ID of that particular game. But here, you're going to use a particular cheat that will allow you to see different trainer IDs depending on which trainer you have. So for example, this trainer has a different, will produce a different trainer ID here than this one because it is from a different trainer.
So both methods has their pros and cons. The first one is really easy to do and it only takes a couple of minutes, but you need a legit shiny Pokemon. The second one is, it requires a lot more stuff. It requires a specific type of DS that reads Game Boy Advance games. You need an R4, you need to download a 4th generation game, and you need to find a cheat list that contains that particular cheat. If it were for me, I will put that specific cheat list on the description of this video, but as I was doing the research of this video, I was trying to search for that cheat list and for the life of me, I couldn't find it. So it's up to you to search for it. I know it's real, I used it in the past in a previous R4, but I just can't find it. But don't worry, even if you don't have an R4 and you are too lazy or you don't have the time to search for a legit shiny Pokemon, there are many other ways to search your secret trainer ID. Today, I'm just going to showcase these two methods just because they are the most easy to understand, but by all means, go and search online for other ways. I know there are many other ways.
And now, finally, we can start getting shiny Pokemon. Yes! But you may ask, how do we do that based on the information we just got? Well, RNG, the random number generators in the Pokemon games, like I said, are based on algorithms. And now that you have the information that goes in the algorithms, the algorithm will be able to produce those random numbers, those random results. And those random results will be able to tell you what particular moves, what specific inputs you need to do in the game that you have in order to make those shiny Pokemon appear. But right now, even though you have what goes in the algorithm, you don't know what the algorithm is. And thus, you need a data processing program that is specifically made for that particular algorithm. And thus, you need certain programs like the one that I'm showing here, known as RNG Reporter. There are other programs, but this is the most well-known program. So yeah, the link to this program will be in the description. So let's go right into it. So here we are at RNG Reporter. Now, at first glance, this program might look a bit intimidating, overwhelming, but trust me, the first time that you get it right, the first time that you get that shiny, you will understand how easy this program actually is. So before starting, let me be clear, even though I'm just going to show you how to get shinies in the 3rd generation games Ruby, Sapphire, or Emerald, this program can be used to get shiny Pokemon throughout many different generations. I think from generation 3 to 5, but I know for a fact that you can RNG abuse in all Pokemon games, even in the new ones, Sun and Moon. Now let me explain a couple of things about this program. The first one is the method. Now, depending on which Pokemon game you are going to RNG abuse, and depending on what Pokemon you want, for example, a roamer Pokemon, stationary Pokemon or a wild Pokemon, the methods can be slightly different. For Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, to get wild Pokemon, you will choose method number 1. And for Pokemon Emerald, to get shiny wild Pokemon, you will choose method number 2. The difference between method number 1 and number 2 are slightly different, and I will explain it with a more detail later on. Now here, you can modify the IVs of a Pokemon. IVs are like the genetics of a Pokemon, okay? It varies from 1 through 31. If you have, for example, in HP 1 IV, that means that that Pokemon is terrible at HP. But if, for example, you have 31 in attack, that means that that Pokemon will exceed at that stat, okay? So if you put 31 in every single stat, that means that you have a perfect Pokemon. That means that he cannot get better at those stats, okay? But be wary that the more specific you made a Pokemon, the rarer it will be to produce. So if you have every stat in 31, it will be harder to get. So I just will advise you that you just get 31 in the stats that the Pokemon needs the most. For example, if a Pokemon is a physical attacker, just leave attack at 31. If the Pokemon is a special attacker, leave a special attack at 31, and so. Now here you can see nature, and there are 25 different natures possible that a Pokemon can have. Some natures are benign, some are natures that do not do anything, but there are other natures that they increase one particular stat, for example HP, attack, or special defense by 10%, as well as they decrease one stat by 10%. So for example, if you have a physical attacker, here you want a nature that increases the physical attack. And if that Pokemon is a physical attacker, that means that he probably doesn't need special attack. So the nature that you want to get is a nature that increases attack but decreases a special attack because he does not need it. So the nature that you want is adamant, for example, and you can choose whatever nature you want. Ability, that depends if the Pokemon has a second or third ability, which is a hidden ability. There are Pokemon that only has one ability, but anyway, I don't care about abilities for now. Encounter slot is something very peculiar. Depending on which place you hunt, different Pokemon will appear. And different Pokemon will appear based on what slots the Pokemon are. Let's say, for example, that you are in a desert, okay? And in that desert area, there are Trapinches, Cacneas, and Sandshoes. Well, the Cacturns appear in the slots 0, 1, 3, and 4. The Trapinches appears in the slot 4, 5, 6, and 7, and the Sandshoes appear in the slot 8, 9, 10, and 11. And that means that every Pokemon has a 33.3% of chances of appearing. But if you want to hunt for a particular shiny Pokemon, let's say shiny Trapinch, you know that the slots that he appears are 4, 5, 6, and 7, so you're gonna put those. That varies from place to place, and I suggest that if you want to hunt a particular Pokemon, you search the particular encounter slot in that particular place in that particular game. And yeah, that's pretty much it about encounter slots. That's the fast explanation of that. And gender, you can choose to don't care, like me, be pansexual, or choose male or female. But we're not gonna care about that. And that wraps pretty much about everything you need to know about this.
Here comes another one. Here it comes again. Here comes another one. When will it ever end?
But in order to make this program produce anything, you need three things. Three things that we've been talking about throughout this video for the last 30 minutes. And if you do not know seriously what those three things are, I will be really disappointed. And that proves that you have no attention span. Those three things are the seed, the trainer ID, and finally, most important, the secret trainer ID. Okay? That thing that took us so long. Okay? Remember, if you are doing this in Ruby Saphire, choose method number 1. Uno. And if you're going to do this in Emerald, choose method number 2. Simple. In Seed, if you're playing in Emerald, leave that thing just the way it is, or you can change it to 0. It does exactly the same thing. And if you're playing Ruby Sapphire, change it to 5A0. That's cool. Easy peasy. Simple. Now, for your trainer ID, just go ahead and paste your trainer ID here in the thing that says ID 18138. Simple. And finally, secret trainer ID. Place that thing, and that's it. 50144. Simple as that. Now you can see shiny only and sync frames only. Click the shiny only so the RNG Reporter will produce only shiny frames. And finally, the best moment, it's time to click that bitch! Now, let me try to make some sense at what just happened, okay? The RNG Reporter start to generate frames, okay, based on the specifications we input. The only thing we did was to put shiny only. So every single frame you see here is a shiny frame, meaning that this is a particular moment in time that contains shiny Pokemon, and every single one of these frames does that, okay? Now let's focus on the first one, okay? The first frame, the first thing that is covered in blue, okay? And we are going to focus solely on the first one because it is the shortest in time. As you can see, this one takes only 2 minutes 29 seconds, and as you go down, the times become longer and longer, and the longer it is, the most time consuming this process will be. So because this is the shortest time, I'm going to focus on the first frame, okay? This frame is at the 8000s, 2 minutes 29 seconds. It's not a bad, not a really good time, but really whatever, just for a demonstration, this will do. So yeah, the time is 2 minutes 29 seconds. The nature that will produce is brave, and it will always be brave. And as you can see, the ability will be 0, and the IVs will be these IVs: 31 speed, 16 special defense, 16 special attack, and they will never change, okay? These stats, the nature, the IVs will always be the same, as well as it will always be shiny. At this particular moment in time, at 2 minutes 29 seconds, the game will always produce this particular Pokemon. But let's say that instead of a brave nature, for example, you want a different nature. Let's say that you want a sassy nature, okay? Well, if you check the frames available, you can see that, bam, you have a sassy frame, okay? And that's great. But if you check here, you can see that that frame will appear 21 minutes 56 seconds after you turn on the game, and that takes way too much time, okay? Sadly, these are the frames that are in your particular save file, okay? These frames are generated from your secret trainer ID and your regular ID and the seed, okay? So they will never change unless you delete your save file and you get a different ID and different secret trainer ID, okay? But don't be scared, okay? The first shiny frame will never be longer than 3 minutes, okay? Because the chances of getting a shiny in the wild at are 1 in 8,192, and in every second there are 60 frames, okay? So if you do the math, there will be a shiny frame every 2.5 minutes, okay? As you can see, my first shiny frame is at 2 minutes 29 seconds, which is horrible, terrible, disgustingly horrible. And if you get a shiny frame earlier than this, if you get a shiny frame, let's say that occurs in the first 30 seconds, 10 seconds, that save file is golden. You should keep that save file because that save file is amazing. My save file is freaking crap. But since I already know my secret trainer ID and I don't want to go through all the process of getting a new secret trainer ID, I will have to make with it. I will have to hunt here, okay? So, like I said before, every single one of these frames contains a shiny Pokemon. Now, you may ask, well, how do I hit this frame, okay? How do I get this frame in the game? How do I get this exact frame? How do I hit it, okay? Well, you can count for it. You can mentally count for that frame for 22 minutes, 29 seconds, and 78, whatever. But that should be impossible for humans. That should be very unlikely that you are capable of keep a mental timer so precise, unless you are at some Rick Sanchez mega genius level shit, or you are a fucking demon. But because I don't think that you are either of those things, you will have to use a timer, okay? You will have to use a timer so you are able to get this exact time, okay? And there are several different timers that you can use. Today I will show you two that you can use that are very similar. The first one is in this web page in pokemon.client.jpg. It's in Japanese. My understanding on Japanese is very basic, but it's a timer, and it's a timer that many people use to RNG abuse, and I've heard that this timer produces really good results, okay? But the timer that we'll be using today is a program that you can download for free, known as Eontimer, okay? This is the icon of that program, and every single program and page that I use in this tutorial, I will leave it in the description, okay? So I will click Eontimer, and as you can see, is a timer first of all, it's in English. There are many modes, and this is the timer that I will be using today, okay? So now I'm going to show you how to put the information we just got from the RNG Reporter into your Eontimer, or whatever timer that you want. If you want to use the Japanese timer from that Japanese website, you can do it. You can choose any other bootleg timer as long as it does the same job as Eontimer, okay? So just to clarify, the first thing we're going to do is hunt in Emerald. Later we're going to hunt in Pokemon Sapphire. So since we're hunting in Emerald first, we're going to choose method number 2, okay? And the seed, we will leave it at 0 or blank. It does the same thing, shiny only, and these are the particular shiny frames that are produced in this game, okay? We're going to choose the first one. We want a brave shiny Pokemon with this ability and these IVs. And that frame will appear at 2 minutes, 29 seconds, and 78 milliseconds? I think so, okay. And that shiny Pokemon appears in the frame 8,987. So we're going to put that frame into the Eontimer. As you can see, there are different modes that you can choose, and the mode that we're going to choose is number 3. Okay, in mode you are going to put here, you're going to leave it as standard, and lag you're going to leave it as blank or as 0. Pre-timer is the timer that you're going to wait in order to soft reset your game. Let me explain. In order for you to hit this frame, you have to hit it at this exact time. Remember that every time that you turn on the console, the frames start running. So when you turn on the console at 2 minutes 29 seconds and 78 milliseconds after you turn on the console, that will be the moment that you want to hit this frame, okay? So you want to be as precise as possible. So the pre-timer is going to help you do that. So you can modify the pre-timer as much as you want. For example, let's put 6,000. That will give me a leeway of 6 seconds, so you can soft reset your game, for example. So if you click start, you can see the pre-timer running, and when the timer is close to 0, it will start beeping, allowing you to be more precise. And when the pre-timer runs, it will start counting down until it reaches 0, and then you can hit this frame. So this frame is at 8,987, so that's your target frame. That's the frame you want to hit, because if you hit it, you will get a shine. So in target frame, you're going to input that frame, 8,987. There you go. Now you can see that you can see the time that you have to wait. That is 150 seconds and 29 milliseconds. So after the pre-timer runs, you will click, you will soft reset your game, and then you're going to wait 150 seconds and 21 milliseconds. And at the moment the timer hits 0, you will use Sweet Scent, the Sweet Scent Pokemon, in order to get the wall encounter, okay? So for example, let's click start. The timer is running, and the moment it hits 0, you soft reset your game, and you're going to wait this time. And when the timer hits 0, you know what to do. You click Sweet Scent, and if you did it right, and if you hit the exact same frame, you will get your shiny Pokemon. Simple as that. But there are a couple of things that you have to understand. The frame that you have to hit is very precise, okay? In 1 second there are 60 frames, so it's really precise. Most likely you will not hit it the first time. So there are a couple of things that you will have to do in order to help yourself to be more precise, even more precise than this, okay? So let me go to the Pokemon game in order to explain what you're going to do now. Okay, so here we are. Here we go. Are you ready to get shiny Pokemon? So you're going to get so much shiny Pokemon. I mean, you have no idea. I mean, okay, here we are. Now you can see the Eontimer back there in my computer, and you can see my Game Boy Advance, and so you can see everything as it will happen in real time. So let's make a recap. Things that you need to do is to have a synchronizer Pokemon that has the nature of the shiny frame you got. Like I said 1,000 times already, I got a Brave shiny frame, so I have a Brave synchronizer, okay? But we're not gonna use it yet, okay? Just keep it in your party. And we have a Pokemon that has Sweet Scent, okay? And yeah, that's it. And look at this. I have a shiny Mareep that I got in the Safari Zone. I was hunting the Safari Zone just to see if I could get a shiny in the Safari Zone. And yeah, you can. You can get a shiny in whatever you want. It doesn't matter if it is in the Safari Zone. So yeah, I want some Pokemon. Here we are in the Fiery Path, and I want some Pokemon. So I'm going to save the game here, and I'm going to hit the timer in the computer. Okay, I'm going to hit the timer, and when those 6 seconds are over, I'm going to soft reset the game. In a GVA, you hit select, start, A and B. So let's go. So there it is, okay? So as you can see, the timer is running there, and when the timer hits 0, I have to use Sweet Scent. So you have to be very precise. Now, I don't expect you to get it the first time, because I didn't get it the first time, and probably everyone didn't get it the first time, and probably nobody will, because you're hitting something so precise that I cannot expect that anyone that is not a machine can do it, okay? If I hit it now, okay, If the timer runs 0 and I get a shiny Pokemon, that means that I am some demigod or some stupid shit like that, okay? Because it's impossible. You cannot hit it the first time, okay? I haven't seen anyone yet to do it, okay? That will be even more impressive than getting a real shiny Pokemon in the wild. Okay, so I'm not going to bore you anymore. I'm just going to speed this up, and when the timer is close to 0, I will put in normal speed. Okay, 20 seconds now. Okay, I'm pretty close. Be comfortable, be relaxed. Okay, 10 seconds now. Okay, I was pretty precise there, but I didn't get a shiny, okay? I don't think. Oh my god, it's not a shiny. Rip. No, I'm just kidding, okay? This should be expected, and this is not a waste of time, okay? What you're going to do now is that you want to catch this particular Pokemon, because even though this Pokemon is not shiny, this Pokemon should be very, 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 very close to the shiny Pokemon that you want. So you're going to catch it, and you're going to see in which frame you landed, okay? That's what you're going to do. So catch it, it can be in whatever. So I'm going to use Master Balls because I don't want to waste your time. Okay, now I'm going to save the game, okay? And now what you're going to do is you're going to grab this Pokemon that you got, this Torkoal here, and you're going to check his IVs, just like you checked the IVs for your shiny Pokemon. And if you got the Secret Trainer ID from using an R4, then it's time that you learn how to check your Pokemon's individual values. So, like I said before, if you just put these stats and this level and this ability in an IV calculator, it will not give you the exact stats that you want. So what you're going to do in order to calculate this Pokemon its stats is to level him up to level 100, so you get its exact IVs, okay? And like I said, you don't have to keep it at level 100. You are just going to do the rare candy trick that I did last time. You're going to give him rare candies until he's level 100, write his stats in a piece of paper, and then reset your game so you didn't waste your rare candies, okay? So here we go. Jesus, finally. Okay, so finally, Torkoal is level 100. It started to rain, but whatever. So now we're going to put the nature and his stats into an IV calculator. So I'm not gonna bore you. I'm just gonna speed this up, but you know what to do now. Just put the level, just put the name, put the nature, and put the stats, and then you will get the exact IVs. Now we go back to RNG Reporter, and we're going to click the first frame. We're going to go and left click, and then we're going to click this option to center to plus minus 10 seconds and set as target frame, okay? And by doing that, you can see that the shiny only has disappeared because now you ask the RNG Reporter to produce a lot of frames that are closer to this first frame, okay? And those frames, of course, are not shiny. This one it is, but all of these are not, okay? And now you have to put what you got in the IV calculator in there, so you can see which of these Pokemons did you get. Now, in order to search the frame that we just got, we just have to input some data here. In nature, we just put the nature of the Torkoal, which is relax. We put relax. And then we also going to put some IVs, for example 0 in HP, we're going to put at 2, we're going to put 22, we're going to put, yeah, just by putting that and you put equal to, probably you will get it the first time. So you generate that and you got 1. And it's 0, 2, 22, 29, 18, and 0. This is exactly the one. So you hit the frame at 9,254. So this was the time that you hit. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to input that frame into the Eontimer, okay? Because that is the frame that you hit, okay? So this is your target frame, and now you're going to input the frame that you just hit, which it was 9,254. So 9,254. So by doing that, that will create lag, okay? That will give you even more of a leeway so you can hit your target. Now you won't wait 150 minutes, you were going to wait a little more. So if you click start, for example, you wait the 6 seconds, and now, sorry, you wait less, you wait 5 seconds, around 5 seconds less, okay? And that will make sure that you will have a lot more chances to hit your target, okay? Okay, so here we are back again. And what you're going to do now is put your synchronizer in front of your party, okay? Now is the time to use it, okay? Now, what's gonna happen is, and like I said, this is only possible in Emerald. If you have Ruby and Sapphire, don't do this. You don't need a synchronizer because you can't use a synchronizer, okay? These added effects in abilities only appear in Emerald onwards, okay? So in Ruby and Sapphire, you cannot do this. It's a lot harder to get shiny Pokemon by doing this on Ruby and Sapphire, but it's still worth it. It might take a couple more tries, but you can still get any shiny Pokemon you want, and it's way easier, and it takes way less time than just soft reset or random encounter for a real 1 in 8,992 shiny, okay? Now, what Synchronize ability does is move frames until it lands a Pokemon with this nature. So, if the shiny frame you want is close enough to the frame that you hit, if Synchronize is active, Synchronize will move you to that shiny frame. But that only happens in a very that only happens if the frame that you hit is very close to the shiny frame. I did several experiments and you can be very far off. You can be even 300 frames far. As you can see, the frame that we want to get is 8,987, and the frame that I hit was in the 9,100. So it was more than 200 frames of difference, but still the synchronizer might work because it's under those 300s. Now, what you're going to do is, now that you have this in the front of your party, you're going to save the game. And like you did last time, you're going to soft reset, okay? After the pre-timer runs out. So let me concentrate. Okay, so that was pretty cool. That was pretty accurate, I feel. Now, here you can expect to get shiny Pokemons. Now, how consistent? That depends on how precise you are. And that varies from person to person, okay? Now, this might take a couple of tries, okay? Do it about 5 to 10 times. Really really feel sure about hitting that time at 0, 0, 0, okay? If you hit the pre-timer and the target frame at 0, 0, 0, and you didn't get a shiny in, let's say, 10 tries, that means that you are too far off, and not even with the synchronizer ability, you will be able to get the shiny Pokemon by using that lag, that frame hit, okay? If you do this more than 10 times and you still don't get anything, don't get discouraged. There are other things we can do beyond that, but before that, let's speed this up and let's see if I manage to snag a shiny Pokemon in the first try. I don't think I will, but I could. I definitely could. So yeah, let's wait. Okay, so I didn't get it the first time. That's perfectly acceptable. I felt pretty confident that I hit it, but it might didn't work. Don't worry. Try again. Try a couple of times. If that doesn't work, then what you will have to do is redo the whole catching a Pokemon close and exchange the lag. What you want to do is to make sure that the lag is suitable for you, okay? Well, let me try a couple more times, and if I get it, I will let you know. Okay, so here we are. Try number 2. Let's see if I can get it now. Okay, that was a little too late. I don't think I got it. I fucking got it! I got it! Holy shit. Try number 2. That's a shiny Coughing, dude. Oh my god. I fucking got it. That's amazing. That was exactly what I wanted. That must have been the synchronizer because it was super far off. There was no way that I hit the exact frame. This must be the effect of the synchronizer. Well, try number 2. Try number 2 and I got it. That's pretty amazing. You should expect a couple more tries than this. You shouldn't expect to get it the first time, okay? I didn't get it the first time, I get it the second time. Still, that is really good. Just trying 2 times and getting a shiny Pokemon, that's pretty dope. You see how easy it is in Emerald, in Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, you will need to hit the exact frame. Like I said, you're using the Eontimer or you're using another timer, and it's completely feasible. It's nothing impossible to be frame perfect with these tools. Okay. What I'm trying to say that even though it's easier in Emerald, it's possible in Ruby and Sapphire. And yeah, this Pokemon looked super dope. This was the Pokemon that I wanted in here. And I don't know what to do. I don't think I can toxic him, and I don't want to toxic him. Yeah, I just want to get it in a luxury ball. I'm gonna, if this becomes too long, I might just speed this up until I get it. Okay, I think I'm gonna speed this up. Woo! So yeah, a shiny Pokemon. There you go. Nickname to the coughing, RNG. There you no second try. Second try. There you go. Second space try. Just enough. I haven't just enough letters. That's pretty dope. Second try. There you go. I got in the second try. That's a second try shiny coughing. And just to make sure it's shiny. Yeah, there it is. That's it. In Pokemon Emerald, it doesn't look that good. In Fire Red and Leaf Green, this Pokemon looks amazing. Let me just save the game and do a random encounter. And yeah, there you go. That's how you get shinies in Emerald, boys. And now I'm going to do it in Ruby and Sapphire, just so you can see for yourself that it is exactly the same process, okay? So there you go. That's shiny coughing. I mean, dude, this is freaking amazing. I mean, I still cannot believe this freaking works. So yeah, I'll see you in Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire. Now go and find your secret trainer ID exactly like you did in Pokemon Emerald, but now for Ruby and Sapphire. Okay, so now in Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, you find your secret trainer ID, you put your seed and method number 1, and now you have the frames available. As you can see, is different from Emerald. Here I got a very early frame, 1 minute and 5 seconds and 8 milliseconds. That's good. And now I'm going to tell you the difference between method number 1 and method number 2. Okay? The difference between method number 1 and method number 2 is the amount of lag that you are going to subtract from this frame, from your target frame, okay? In method number 2, you had to find the lag by capturing a Pokemon, then check his IVs, and then see what frame did you hit and subtract the difference in the Eon calculator, okay? That's how you find the lag in method number 2. In method number 1, you do not have to catch any Pokemon except the shiny Pokemon, okay? So you don't have to, in Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, for method number 1, you do not have to catch any Pokemon that it is not the shiny Pokemon that you want, okay? For method number 1. Then that's because you already know the lag, okay? In method number 1, is most usually used to get legendary Pokemon, but in this case is used to get any stationary Pokemon, okay? After you initiate a battle with a stationary Pokemon, that Pokemon will emit an animation and a cry, okay? And the cry of that Pokemon is the lag, you see? In this case, the Pokemon that you use the sweet scent will emit a cry, and that cry is the amount of lag, the amount of frames that you need to subtract from your target frame, okay? So instead of keep talking this gibberish, let me just show you what I'm trying to say, okay? For Pokemon Emerald, I use Eontimer, and I feel it's only appropriate to use the other timer, but like I said, both do exactly the same thing, okay? Each one has their pros and cons. So like I said, this is the frame that you want to hit, 3,905 seconds, and okay, 3,905, okay? So you're going to put it here, 3,905, and if you click here, this will be converted into seconds. So 65 seconds and 0.8 milliseconds, and if you check the time, 1 minute and 5 seconds and 0.8 milliseconds is exactly the same as 65 seconds 0.8 milliseconds, so that's correct. And now you want to find how many frames the cry of your sweet center causes, okay? So in Pokemon Sapphire, right now I'm going to use Oddish instead of Tropius. And that is because I know exactly the cry of Oddish. You can search online to see the amount of time. So for Oddish, the cry takes 275 frames. So if you turn it into seconds, that is 4 seconds and 58 milliseconds. So what you're going to do is you're going to subtract the 65 seconds and 8 milliseconds minus this 4 seconds and 58 milliseconds, and I already do that, so that will be 60 seconds, 0.5 milliseconds, exactly, so 5 milliseconds beyond 1 minute. This is the pre-timer. You can modify it as much as you want and leave this blank. I have no idea what this is. So after you hit start, you will see that just like in Eontimer, the pre-timer will run, and after the pre-timer runs to 0, okay, the time will run, okay? So there you go, the timer is running, and after the time runs to 0, you will hit start, and there you go, you will get the shiny Pokemon, okay? So the pros, there are pros and cons of each method. Method number 2, you will have to catch several Pokemon to find the proper lag. In method number 1, you do not have to get any Pokemon, you just need to know what how many frames the cry takes, and yeah, that's the difference. But of course, in method number 1, you have to be frame perfect, so you have to hit 0, 0, 0, 0 here, so you have to be more precise in method number 1. So yeah, those are the differences. Okay, we are back at Pokemon Sapphire. Let's freaking do this right now. Let's hit the timer. The timer is to start is that big button. I'm clicking in the screen. So the pre-timer is running, like you see, and we're going to do that. And yeah, okay, that was that. And now we'll wait exactly 1 minute and 5 milliseconds. That's the thing we had to do. And yeah, that's the difference between method number 1 and method number 2. Method number 1, you already know the lag, and the lag is the cry of this Pokemon, the cry of your sweet center Pokemon. And in method number 2, you have to find the lag by cutting cutting regular Pokemon and getting his IVs to see what frame did you landed. Okay, that is the difference. Pretty much. This is harder because you have to hit you have to be frame perfect. So yeah, let's see if I can get it the first time. I won't, probably, most likely. So yeah, the one of the bad things about this freaking timer is that the timer seems to have some lag. Okay, I hit that way late. Okay, there's no way I got it first time. Okay, I didn't get it first time. So I'm just going to keep doing it until I get it. So I probably will speed this up. I got it! Oh! Oh my penis! Oh my god! Let's go! Oh! Ah! This is my normal state of super shiny Pokemon! Ah! Woo! Oh my god! That took quite a bit. That took a couple of tries. I'm not gonna lie. Frame perfect, dude. It's freaking hard, man. Freaking hard. So, I did one tiny little thing to help me out. I turn off the pre-counter. I turn it off. So instead of here putting 10 seconds, 15 seconds, I just straight up put the time, okay? So the pre-timer was absolutely 0, and I had to lower the SP so I can hit the mouse in my computer, as well as the soft reset, resetting my game at the same time. So the pre-timer was 0, and I did that to help me, and it did. I got the shiny. That's so dope. Oh man, but that took the piss. Definitely, it's way easier in Emerald, but like I said, it's doable here. I mean, and if you are good, there you go. And if you are freaking good at things that are related to timing, you know, whatever. Goku. I'm gonna call it Goku because I just turned into a Super Saiyan right now. Yeah, man. Dude, I cannot believe how much time that took. That took forever. But yeah, Goku. That's a shiny. Let me just summon Goku into the field.
What you see now, it's my normal state. This is a Super Saiyan. And this is to go even further.
Ah! There you go. That's how to get shinies in Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, or Emerald. And that is a 1% search kit, by the way, so that's pretty lucky as well. Thank you for watching, guys. Well, guys, that's it for the video. Links to everything will be in the description below. That's it. Thanks for watching, and have a good day.